something going on. All right.
So I got a
All right,
couple
go out.
minutes, man, to talk with.
What's up, y'all? How is everybody tonight?
All is well.
Good,
All
good.
right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, everybody,
Never
welcome to the
bad, never
Social
bad.
Experiment. We have a different crew here tonight, a little add-ons with us tonight. Of course, you know me, Sabrina. We have Max over here, and then we got Dre, and then Carnita.
Hey.
So say hello, everybody.
Hola,
Hello,
¿cómo está?
everyone.
All right, Max. What's
Hey.
the topic for what's our topic tonight?
Lord Jesus, get your life
Oh, it's gonna
together. It's gonna be
about to
one of
hurt
them
some.
days.
About to hurt some
It's
people.
gonna it's gonna be one of them days. No, the
Yeah.
topic is religion's influence on modern society.
Okay.
That's more or less the topic. It's probably gonna whatever, but we'll see how it goes. So, Sabrina, open up as you always do. You know how you do, and we'll get it started from there. And I'm
Yes, so
just opening all
Carnita
these
basically
windows.
is one of the ones that I know. She has studied certain religions and everything. So I want her to give a perspective on how you feel in America about
Oh, oh boy.
the religious system and how that's affected the Black community.
Well, I did. I'm not. I wouldn't say I didn't formally study religion, as in like I didn't go to school for theology or anything like that.
Hmm.
When I was younger, probably my late teens, 18, 19 years old, I had an uncle. He's actually my great uncle, so my mother's uncle. He was a Baptist minister for 35 plus years, and then quit. Decided just quit. Um, he was always like a minister of a smaller church, none of those large, massive,
The mega churches
conglomerations.
here.
Yeah,
Right.
nothing like that. But he quit and he decided he was going to focus on speaking to young men, especially black men, in the prison system. So he started doing prison ministries, basically just talking to them and trying to help them find a spiritual path. And I had
Okay.
come to him and asked him several questions that, even though he'd been a part of that sect for a long time, he's like, niece, I don't know how to answer you. So let's go find out. So me
Right.
and him for probably about 3 years dug through all kind of obscure information. And back then, wasn't no internet. You couldn't Google search anything because,
Right.
I'm from back then. So, we for 3 years we dug into all kinds of things, found all kinds of knowledge that just was not readily handed to any of us, and won't be. We have to go find the truth for ourselves. So during that time period, a lot came out about how people, we'll just say people, will hand you their religion and tell you this is what you have to believe, you know.
Hmm.
And there's a reason why they call religious belief the religious doctrines. It's a belief
Hmm.
system that's created. And indoctrination literally means to give someone a belief system and you don't allow them to critically think about what you're giving them. That's what
Mm.
indoctrination actually means. And so when you take the subject of religion and what we've been taught, first of all, the majority of what we think of as our religious beliefs are stories that are created by a certain sect of people who want to keep control of the masses and control of their money. And so they give you this belief system to scare you into thinking that if you don't follow it, something bad is going to happen to you, either in this life or the next life that they tell you about. And that's a way of them controlling
Right.
you and your money, because there's a lot that goes into, like, when you think about the most powerful religions in the world, the number one is Catholicism. The Catholic Church is like one of the richest religious sects on the planet. Now, one would have to wonder, why does a religion need to have so much money?
Right.
What are they doing with it? Because obviously, if they're holding on to all these riches, they're not helping the poor and the needy because they're holding on to all the money. So there's a lot that
It's
goes
a
into
business.
it is, and that's the reason why in this country supposedly there was supposed to be a separation of church and state. They didn't want to step on each other's toes because they both want the same thing: control of the
Right.
masses and the control of their money. So supposedly they weren't supposed to step on each other's toes, but as we can see, especially lately, religion pays politics to push their agenda.
What you got to say, Dre? I see you over there.
No. I was speaking to somebody that came in.
Oh,
No.
okay.
I'm agreeing with everything she's saying right now. Like I said, I grew up. Not trying to cut you off or anything, or whatever, but I grew up. I was a preacher's kid, so I was indoctrinated into that belief system. So you couldn't tell me nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like if it wasn't what I was told or raised to believe in, it wasn't right. Like I said, you're wrong. You're going to hell. I'm damning you for not believing the way I believe, because the way I believe was the only way and the right way, and there's nothing you can do. And I got the evidence to prove it. A, B, C, and D, all that stuff that we're taught, indoctrinated into, and the rebuttals and all that stuff. So trust me, I want
Yeah.
to go deep into it, but I'll let you go ahead and finish. I got a lot into this.
I mean, really, I was just kind of like giving an overview, and I think especially in this country, if you look back on the history of this country and see how their religion was pushed onto different tribes and cultures, and basically the fear factor was a big deal thing. Having being in fear of these people, which in this land, they didn't know these people. They didn't know the ones that came over here and colonized and took over and claimed and everything else. But and so it's really counterintuitive to what every other tribe on the planet, what they call their spiritual practices and beliefs. It's not a religion.
Mm-hmm.
They have spiritual practices and things that connect you to source and things that inherently connect you to source. But it wasn't the belief system that these people had. And I think because of it's kind of like infested this whole nation when they came over here with that belief system and basically browbeat everybody into thinking this is what you have to believe, otherwise we're going to have to kill you.
Right. Max and I have talked about this on so many different occasions, and of course, I talk about the same thing with some of my other friends and family members. And I grew up, in a household where we believed, mostly, of course, in God and Jesus. So I grew up, a lot of people would be like, oh, it's Baptist. Okay, well, grandmother was Baptist, but then we got this other side that was holiness or non-denominational. I ended up at some point in my life, in my adult years, being non-denominational. When I had my son, and I'm taking him back and forth to church and all that stuff. So I did have a somewhat of a new spiritual life. I did, but at the same time, I really did not feel that I was in place. I did not feel, I felt so out of place. I still had so many questions and I was so frustrated and I was living in fear, just like as you said, because it's all kind of fear-based, it's like you
Yes.
have to do this, you have to be this, you have to be
Everything
this
is
way
about fear and
in order
control. Yeah.
to make it to heaven. So I was always afraid to make a mistake. And anytime I'm thinking I was doing something holy or righteous, it ended up being, when I spoke with the pastor or whatever, I wasn't being so holy and righteous. And I'm like, well, I'm confused. So now I can possibly go home, go to sleep, and die and go to hell because I made a mistake today. So I mean, that's basically, I just, like I said, I felt like it just at the end of the day, it was too much, and it was not for me. It drove me a little bit crazy. No. It drove me a lot crazy. So I had to step away from that, and I'm still slowly but surely stepping away from it. Not that it didn't teach me morals and good character and integrity. It taught me a whole lot of things I will not discredit the things that I was taught. However, a lot of it is still BS to me. In my opinion, the Bible is just a good book to tell stories for, it's a good book to tell stories,
Well, the
but
Bible in
also a good
itself
book
is
to
a
get
book of
wisdom
stories.
from.
It's a book of stories. Actually, the
Yes,
Bible isn't what they say it is. It's a
right.
collection of other people's spiritual encounters. A
Yes.
It's a carbon
collection.
copy of a carbon copy of multiple
What
stories
you got?
passed
What
down
you
from
I'm
got,
history.
Jack?
I'm gonna have to jump in here. I was trying to be quiet for a minute because I know me.
You did good this time, boy.
I
Look
know,
at
right?
you.
So, I look, and part of me, if I'm not looking at the camera the whole time, I'm like tagging people while I'm doing this. But
Mhm.
here's my perspective. My
Mhm.
perspective on the whole thing when it comes to religion is I always go back, and I mean I'm gonna really come for Christianity on a second here because my whole thing is that my biggest problem that as I do my research, you understand what I'm saying? And I research all the time. I spend a lot of time alone, quiet, where I can just listen to YouTube, where I can listen to audiobooks and all types of stuff. And as I do my research and I look at how much um, of those crusades and everything, how they came to Africa, welcoming tribes that they didn't get every tribe. And the reason why is because some tribes were super aggressive and badass.
I
So
would have it.
they couldn't mind fuck them, but the ones that were open and welcoming, because a lot of people in Africa, the way they grew up, a lot of those tribes are very open and welcoming, and they want to teach you because it was always about. That's why, if you ever pay attention to elders in a lot of their tribes, is how we treat old people here. We throw them in a home and just say "fuck you" and hurry up and die. And now they were considered holders of stories. Like you learn things from them, and those elders carried the experience of generations in their head because it was stuff passed down, passed down, passed down. But in these cases, people would come and they would want to share their wisdom with these people who took advantage of their openness and then blindsided them, whitewashed them, shipped them off to a place where they were told that they would probably have more advantages by staying there. But instead, what they did is they tricked them, hit them in the back of the head, and had them out on fields slaving. And even up until today, when you talk about this stuff, and I guarantee you, along this conversation, because listen, y'all got a lot to say on this. Y'all grew up like me. I'm probably the only one here out of the four of us that didn't grow up with an automatic religious influence being spoon fed to me from youth. Like my
Me
mother
neither.
was no, but they tried. You just left early.
They pushed me out early, put it that way.
Yeah, but in my case, my mother was always of just spirituality and you choose your own path. I made my way into the church of my own volition because I wanted to see and explore. I wanted to feel the energy, see what this religion feels like, and see what it does for me. Because the thing is, there's a billion different interpretations all talking about the same thing. But my biggest problem with the way that Christianity is indoctrinized is they act like it's the only real and factual truth when it's truthfully a hodgepodge of like five different religions all combined together like Voltron.
Mhm.
And the issue is that literally the stuff that you took it from were things that oppose the very beliefs that you are standing for now.
Mhm.
So it's like you took this, you took Easter, created something out of it. Easter wasn't even originally about that, which I know Carnita knows all about. She was telling me some more about that like a little while ago. And that's something I didn't know. I didn't get to that book yet. And um, when it comes to like Christmas is the biggest commercial joke in the universe because they might be celebrating the birth of Christ and that's cool.
But that is
But
not even
as
his birthday.
but as somebody said, matter of fact, I'm gonna let Sabrina say what she knows where I'm going with it. Because people always try to compare themselves to being godlike, being Jesus-like. People will tell you things like, "I'm gonna say this," and then I'm gonna shut up because I'm talking too long. Drive through the hood. Now I'm on the road a lot. I spend more time on the road than probably anybody else here. But drive through the hood. You'll see about 5, 6 churches without having to count more than 20, 20 minutes of your time. You'll see about 30 churches just driving through the hood. But if you go to those higher end communities, you don't see that. There might be one big church out somewhere or whatever, and the people then go over there. But the reason why is because a lot of times they prey on the hope and the desperateness of people, and they use that to make money off of it. Religion is a multi-billion-dollar industry, and they don't even pay any fucking taxes. But then when you look at your paycheck, you getting put in a headlock.
What's
Anyway,
your
y'all got things to say
experience?
because I got more, but I'm gonna shut up for right now.
I want to know, Dre, what's been your experience with this whole religion thing, and what have you? Um, just tell us first of all, what's been your experience with it?
Um, well, like I said, I was indoctrinated into it, so you couldn't tell me nothing different that there was any other spiritual belief. And there was a
We can't hear you, Dre.
okay. Sorry about that. Like I said, I got my phone on do not disturb. I don't know why it's still coming through, but no. What I was saying is, being indoctrinated into that belief system. Um, there was a point in time when I was separated from my wife, and I was just like, man, you know what? If this is if Jesus is real, man, then we'll get back together. Something will happen to get us back together, or well, not even get us back together, but you know what I'm saying. The whole situation will change. And so I made a post on Facebook. This is in 2014. So one of my homeboys, he sent me things. He was like, "Hey man, look this up." I'm like, Haru, who is Haru? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, what does that got to do with anything? Egyptian god. What is all that stuff or whatever? Or, the Greek man changed to Horus, but Haru, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, what is this? I'm like, this is the same story as Jesus. Like, I don't get this and whatnot. And then you trace history on and whatnot. It's like, hold on, Icarus, and you got all these other stuff that, things like, these are the same things the Bible tells. You know what I'm saying? Like the fables. So like I call them children's stories now. You know what I'm saying? About going through the process. So the more and more research I did and start, gaining information, I'm like, hold on, man. You know what? This book is really a carbon copy of a carbon copy of a carbon copy. It's been manufactured, it's been changed so many times. That's why it's versions. King James version, the Gideon versions. You got all these other different versions of people's interpretation of their belief system. So, like I said, when I start gaining knowledge of this stuff and, start finding out, like, hold on, you mean to tell me there are 4,200 different gods being worshipped right now? And the one that I believe in is the most truest one? It got me thinking more. Like, okay, did man create God or did God create man? You know what I'm saying? Because, again, for some odd reason, I found out that a lot of people, like, they have to believe in something. They feel like they have to believe in something. And I'm not knocking it. If you believe in a higher power, which I do, I believe there is some higher power. I just don't follow it in the religious spiritual belief system. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm a very spiritual person. So when I started doing my little research more and more, and I'm like, you know what, I got to step away from this. I have been wrong in trust and believe. When you step away from it from a Christian household, I'm talking about my cousins, my everybody, you become, you worship the devil or you a witch
You're an
doctor. You know what I'm
outcast.
saying? Basically, you're the black sheep. You have now become the black sheep of this and whatnot. And, when I let it all go, when I tell you like the weight that was lifted off my back, because the more and more I study, the more and more I find out, I'm like, hold on, how? I started questioning things, and I would go up to these multiple pastors and ask some simple questions. I'm like, so Noah, the earth was flooded, and Noah, like I said, all these things happen. You know what I'm saying? Like two penguins traveled across the desert and got on a boat and survived, and like something ain't right with this or whatnot. You know what I'm saying? Or like I guess I don't want to go deep into it. Like just the simplest little questions or whatnot. You mean somebody put a staff down and parted water and parted the people like it just didn't. It was like more kid stories. You know what I'm saying? That like okay, I can see the understanding that people get behind that, but like I'm like people are getting confused. And this is what I was gonna say. So let's go to church around Easter time or whatnot. Go like 2 weeks before Easter, and go to a different one each one. And I promise you, all three different weeks, three different pastors can preach on the exact same subject. You're going to get three different belief systems and three different messages from all of these. So people are getting confused, but you can't tell them because again, no matter whatever it is that you believe in or whatever it is that they're teaching, you have to believe. Like I said, you just gotta believe. You don't do no research. You just gotta believe that this happened, A, B, C, and D. You're not supposed to be questioning God. No, you're not supposed to have these things or
And I
whatnot.
got
No,
something. I have a
so
thought
I'm sorry. Go
about
ahead.
what you were saying. Well, I have a question with my thought. In my opinion, and I know I might make some people mad. I don't care because I've been a Christian before. I don't profess to be a Christian now. However, I found that in my opinion, that it's one of the most narcissistic religions out there because you can't be wrong. You can't be told you're wrong. You have to do everything perfect. You have to think you're perfect. And if you do anything wrong, oh, God will forgive me. God forgives me.
It's always an
So
escape
it's
clause.
like you're always right. You're always perfect. And everybody else that doesn't believe what you believe are going to hell anyway. And then if you try to talk to them and then they don't believe what you believe, they're wrong and they're
Cognitive
going to hell.
dissonance.
Well, I
Beautiful.
tried. It's one of the most mind fucking sorry belief systems ever to me. And don't get me started on all the prophesying and all that crap. I believe in prophecy, but I believe in it a different way. I just believe spirituality. A lot of people like probably watching this and saying, okay, you believe in spirituality. Okay, well, you believe in evil spirits. Yeah, I believe in evil spirits. I believe everybody makes a choice on whether or not they're going to be evil and they're going to be good. It's an everyday battle, a every minute, every moment situation in your mind, whether you're going to choose to do right or choose to do wrong. So it's going to be there for everyone. So it's not that the devil told you to do it, you did it. It's not that God told you to do it, you told yourself to do it. So I mean, it's all about what's within you. Because like I said, it taught me how to have good character and integrity and all of that. And I still have a lot to learn, which everybody does. I'm not gonna claim that I'm perfect, but at the same time, how do you guys feel? Do you guys feel that religion or Christianity or any type of religion that's forced on you can be kind of narcissistic?
Yeah. Well, mainly because the
Yeah.
belief system itself, like in Christianity, one of their big thing is judge not yet ye be judged. I mean, but they judge all the time, all the time.
All
Everything
day.
they do is a judgment. They say
Every
it's
day.
not for. They say only God can judge, but they act in that capacity all the time.
Correct.
They can say there's only one God. So that's their belief, but they get to say what that one God is about. Because in religion, when you think about it, man created God in his image. And that's actually a misnomer. White man created God in his image. That's not how spirituality is. Spirituality is the fact is knowing that we are all of one. We are all spiritual beings having a human experience. And the difference between us and all the other animals on this planet is grace. And that grace is choice. We get to choose how we're going to be, what we're going to do. Whereas the lion, the elephant, the bear. They don't get to choose. Everything is by instinct and survival. So the difference between us and any other animal is the grace of choice, which is us
Mm-hmm.
being as God in this form until we return to the original source.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Go
it.
ahead, Max.
All right. So my thing is, sorry, I'm sitting there playing social media guy. Um, my thing is that often people tend to try to take advantage of the, and this is where I was going before. People
Yeah.
see the thing is I trust God, but I don't trust people. And I say that all the time, and people looking like, I said, I don't care if you're a pastor, I don't care if you're a minister, you still human, you bleed, eat shit, and cry just like everybody else.
Right.
And you have maliciousness in your heart, just like everybody else.
Self-interest.
And you are looking to have an advantage just like everybody else. Because we are all here with the main thing being that we want to win at this game called life.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody can't win. And most people succeed on the bones of other people. When you see somebody standing at the top, like if you look at some of those big mega church preachers that's up on there, Creflo Dollar and them, all sitting up there, and the other guys with the 500 jets, they making that on the hopes and wishes of other people. You have
And
people sitting
fears
up
too.
here talking about that they're faith healing people, but if I brought my now passed, but if I brought my sick aunt at the time and said, listen, I've always been a believer, I'm faithful and everything else, and I need you to help her, you going to then tell me to go in my checkbook because I have to sow a seed and make a sacrifice. But the problem I have with that shit, because that's sowing a seed shit triggers me. The problem I have with that shit is that God's main purpose, the reason why we are dependent on each other, the reason, and this is another thing, and see, the thing that blows my mind is if you go to church, it is 85% female, 15%, well, 15% male, pretty much. There's mad women in the church, hardly any men. And then the men that are there, most of them are involved, either in relationships or married to the person that they're in church with. You understand what I'm saying? And while they're in there, these people, they go and they run around and they go through their whole change, but nobody pays attention to the fact that the Bible puts down women constantly. It makes women second class citizens, and it's not just the Bible. Most religion, that's how you can tell most religion is man with a big
Man-made.
M, with a dick between their legs, made.
Three
Man-made.
male entities. Three male entities created a female.
And yeah,
Father, Son, and Holy Ghost.
listen, I'm gonna get to that. Listen, you know what?
I'm
But
sorry, man. Bringing up points. I can hit on all this stuff, man.
no, you right. You're definitely right. But my point is that I'm looking and I'm like, how can you get excited for something that literally makes you a second class citizen? I have said this in conversations talking with both of y'all, you and you, Kanita, and Sabrina. One of the things I always say is the woman should be one of the most cherished things in any spiritual society because all of us have to pass through those gates to get to this plane of existence. Our souls start off inside their bodies, and we fill that body that then grows into a functional being that we can utilize and interact with on this plane of earth. So, how can all of that be happening within this woman? Now, granted, we have the seed, which is the key. We can't do this without each other. But my point is, us men are already sitting on the top of the chain. And submit to your man, all that stuff. And that stuff is cool because there should be a hierarchy in your household. But the thing is, a lot of these religions, and honestly, Christianity is not even the worst. If you talk about Islam, they treat their women like they're doormats. And it's disgusting because these women are literally the key of the entire universe. And honestly, if you look in the Old Testament, you know, before they revised it, because the Old Testament sounded too crazy back in the Bible. See,
Which book?
The Quran never
Which book?
that part, but the Quran never changed. They stayed the same. They kept the same thing. I forget the name of the one for the Jewish. I think it's the Torah or something like that. Yeah, Torah. And then there's the Bible. The Bible has had multiple editions, many revisions, and honestly,
by people with money, men with
if
money.
you think about it, we're supposed now. This is in the Bible. We're not supposed to worship anybody but God.
Mm-hmm.
But meanwhile, if you look at the Catholic Church, they're living that hypocrisy every day. They have a whole fucking city called Vatican City with Pope sitting in a chair like he's the king, and people are standing in line to touch him like he has some magical. He don't have no magical power. He's just an old dusty ass man in a white robe.
He got the ring. He got the pimp ring. You got to kiss the ring.
I got the ring too. They could come kiss my ring. They'll get just as much grace, or probably more, than they would from him.
Your ring ain't got nothing on the post, brother. Trust me. I'm with you.
Oh no, I know, because he got this.
It's all symbolism. That's all. Their whole religious belief system is set around symbolism and what do you call it?
Oh shit! Hold on, we got bots up in here again, so you know we popping in the algorithm. Let me go share this shit around some more, so we get some more bots. Because I told you, when I see the bots popping up on the YouTube, I know we lit. Go ahead.
Yeah, the religion is centered around symbolic things and what do you call it? Habits. Like they give you like certain habitual things to do. So it's all symbolism. That's what they do.
I mean, the thing is it's all about symbolism. Everything, the Bible, the Quran, the Torah, all of this is a book of metaphors.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
and these metaphors,
they actually give.
They weren't meant to be taken verbatim.
You can't because they're all men's accounts of things.
No, but they were never meant to be taken verbatim. First of all, you know what? I'm gonna slam my tablet down because I got another question too. Damn it!
Uh-oh.
How do we know? First of all, why would a being of infinite power, infinite wisdom, give a damn about things as basic as what you're wearing on your body? What kind of TV show you watch? I know.
No, you got
to understand. No, people don't think. You see, the problem is this world is full of people that don't like using critical thinking, and what they'll say to me is I'm using the devil's tongue. Because whenever they can't answer a question, or whenever they find something that rivals what they're saying and they don't have a legit answer to fill in those blanks with, they say, oh, you're being devilish. Or no, I'm all about helping my fellow man and trying to make sure that all of us end up in the best situation possible. That's being godlike. Being godlike is about asking questions, about constantly evolving and growing, because we were created to constantly evolve and grow. We weren't created to just be fucking lemmings walking off a cliff because, oh, well, it said to walk off the cliff. No, you're supposed to stop and ask a question because that doesn't make any fucking sense. And the thing is,
societies aren't set up for people to think for themselves, because if they allow people to think for themselves, then you lose control, which means you lose the money. You lose the people that create the widgets to sell to the other people who don't really need the widgets, but they've been told that the widget is valuable.
My thing is also along with that.
Go ahead,
Right.
Dre.
And my
Go.
thing is that as
Hold on. Go
well.
ahead, Dre. Go ahead, Dre.
Oh, okay. No, no. I was just gonna say my thing is if the God that you believe in is the Almighty, the greatest thing that ever, the greatest deity that ever existed, why does He need you to prove that to me? Why does He need that? How come He can't do that on His own? You know, like I said,
He can.
how come we give the belief system that power to
Yeah.
where like, hey, you're not. We don't want you critically thinking. We want to think for you. We want to control you, like you said, and we want to tell you what is right and what not. If the person that you believe in is this person, why don't make themselves known? How come I didn't know about this one or that one and whatnot? But like I said, I can tell you that about this one because this one's the true one. This is the greatest one and all that stuff. I mean, like, who has really literally died, went to hell 3 days, and came back and tell you that it's real? Like I said, it's real. Like,
Mm.
I mean, and you believe the story. I understand it because a lot of people, like you said, the spiritual practices that we did over in Africa, the voodoo and all that stuff. People that call it voodoo call it evil and all that stuff. What are you doing when you speaking in tongues? What do you do when you're sitting around in these circles? You're praying. So it's like you're praying to something. You don't even half the people don't even know what they're calling on when they speaking into. They don't know what it is to do. And they just, well, it's God gave me this tongue. I'm speaking in the tongue, a holy tongue. You know what I'm saying? You don't know who the freaking flag that you're speaking to, what its deity, what spirits you're calling up on. You're like, you don't know none of this stuff, whatever, but you're gonna tell me that I'm supposed to believe it because it's right, and you're not supposed to ask questions, you're just supposed to believe. You don't think, you believe that it's real.
Well,
I just got a problem with all that stuff.
Dre, I tell you I tell you something about me. I told Max this. I got kicked out of vacation Bible school when I was 9 years old. And the reason why I was kicked out of vacation Bible school was the teacher was telling us that basically when we were kids, she's telling us that our way of speaking to God was to come to church and speak to the pastor, have the pastor tell us. And
Mhm.
so, but she was explaining it like, okay, God's our father, blah, blah, blah. So I asked her point blank, I said, so if God's our father, how come we can't speak to him ourselves? And she's like, well, what do you
Mhm.
mean? I said, well, I don't have to talk to somebody else to talk to my mom and dad at home. Why would I need to talk through somebody else to speak to God? She didn't like that. She couldn't answer it. So she told my mother that I was disruptive and she did not want me to come back. I was 9. I was 9.
Well, you
That
had
right there started
look
my
here.
journey.
Thank you, teacher, for kicking her out because she's the
Right.
woman she is today.
Well,
Exactly.
And I don't want to knock anybody. Like I said, if you believe in it, and whatever belief system you believe in, and if it
hold on,
makes you a
Dre.
better
You are
person.
fading out bad. You fading
Oh,
out
okay.
bad. Yeah,
Can you
yeah,
hear me?
yeah, yeah.
Okay. Well, I say my thing is, if you believe in whatever it is that you want to believe in, man, that's I have no problem with that. If it makes you a better person, if it's going to stop you from going out hurting people, going out destroying
Hmm.
people, or what I'm saying, inflicting pain or whatever it is to anybody, do it. I'm all for it, whatever. But don't try to force me to believe that that is the only way that I have to live my life and I have to believe this way. Do it. I'm all for it. That's what I'm saying. I don't like when I stepped out, trust me, when I stepped away from Christianity and whatnot, when I tell you I used to fast, I used to go in. But the thing is, I learned you attract more bees with honey. You know what I'm saying? You attract more bees with honey. People are more willing to listen. And if you're not, if you're, presenting, if you give them the good version of something of you, then you're, oh, well, I can see that. I can see that. You know what I'm saying? You're not sitting up there like, man, please, yo, Jesus, blah blah blah. They take offensive. They will literally kill you. I
Because
remember
you're attacking their belief
attacking them.
system. It's all
Yeah,
they know. Yeah.
my dad. Like I said, it was like I said, I was indoctrinated into it and whatnot. So my stepfather, he was the pastor. He's passed on now years ago. But my dad, I remember having a conversation with him. I was just asking him simple questions or whatever. He's like, son, he said, you ain't supposed to do that. You know what I'm saying? You're not supposed to ask those questions. You're supposed to believe. My dad actually, he literally wanted to fight me. He was trying to actually fight me because he's like, I should have been in your life more. I should have. Son, you can't do that. That's not right. I'm like, how you should be happy that you raised a son to think, or that you had a son that can think on
So
his own. Whatever. Why you want to fight me? Because I don't believe in your system. That makes zero sense. Why are you trying to force me to believe something? And you just, well, I saw
Well,
God.
you know
I
what you
saw God. I saw him. And I'm like,
you
oh,
know what
no.
you just described.
holy
You know what you
wars,
just described.
the
Exactly.
holy
This
wars.
is how every single holy war that has ever happened, and there's been a whole lot of them. There have been more people killed based on religious differences than all the other wars we've ever had on this planet combined. Which
All of
is
the system fighting has been over there in one area, one little bitty area of the world where all of these things transpire. It's only been in
Oh, it's
one
been
area.
everywhere. It's
yeah,
been
No,
it's
no, no.
been
I'm
everywhere.
saying
everywhere. I
no,
was gonna
no, no,
say,
no, no. I'm saying when you read the Bible, where's all the stories coming from?
oh
Uh-huh.
well, yeah.
The Old
Bethlehem,
Testament.
That's what they would
Jerusalem,
have
all of
you.
them.
That's what they would have you believe, that
Correct.
it all come from that area, but that's not true.
No, no, no.
Well,
I
the
know the
joke.
concept. Where the concept came from, where the origin started from. You know what I'm saying? I understand that part. I'm talking about when you read
Oh
the
yeah.
book. Where's every story at though? Every story is over in the Middle East somewhere. That ABC happened. AB, that you supposed to do this, and this is what came to pass, and thus say it. Okay. If that makes you a better person, do your thing. Father. That's all I can say. Do your thing.
Mm-hmm.
My
That's all I
whole
can
Yeah.
say.
thing about it is this. Um, Christianity, and I'm just gonna be honest with you, this is how I feel about it, and I don't care how anybody else feel about it, okay? This is just my thought process. Of
Mm-hmm.
course,
I don't like it.
America
I don't
is
even like your
America
thought
is
process.
racist. Can you hear me?
Yep.
I can hear
My
you. I
whole
don't like
thought
your thought
process is
process.
this.
But go ahead.
Shut up.
Dre's being facetious.
I see. He always messing with me. Whatever. Anyway, no, my whole thought process on this is it's still a racist religion, in my opinion, because anybody that talks about anything I see it all the time on social media. I've heard it out of other people's mouths. They say, okay, well, y'all not supposed to be black people. Y'all not supposed to be believing in Jesus. No way. Y'all can believe it because it's here. We're gonna let y'all believe it, but y'all going to hell anyway. Black people are going to hell anyway. So they don't really worry about us. They say, okay, let them believe what they want to, but they're not supposed to be worshiping Jesus or God. No way. They're gonna
Yeah.
go to hell.
Well, that religion was created by the aristocratic white people of Europe.
Hmm.
It's actually a byproduct of Catholicism. Christianity is that Catholicism created Christianity
Mm-hmm.
in what you see today,
Yep.
because they were losing people to
Hmm.
various things, and they needed to basically shock the system to get people back into the church, because they were also losing money. And they
Mm-hmm.
created this whole new religion based on pagan ideology, but
Hmm.
it was their ideology. They just used a story of someone that actually did live but isn't the person that they say was. His life
Correct.
story was created 500 years after his death, and I'm talking about
Mm-hmm.
the person that they call Jesus Christ. his
Right.
his life story was created 500 years after he died, and they used his
Wow.
life story and put some fantasy stuff into it to make it bigger than life,
Hold
and
on.
created a whole religion around it.
You know what it's like? It's like if you ever seen an autobiography or based on a true story, when you're hearing the story of somebody,
Uh-huh.
like many people that they've done biographies on the movies, basically like they do the story of Tyson or they'll do the story of somebody. They not with Tyson's story, they did it with some other stories though. They always add a little bit more fantastic to it
Razzle
to
dazzle to it.
make it more sellable because the regular story is kind of boring and nobody really
Right.
wants to sit through all of that. So they'll be like, all right, let's add a little pizzazz to it. Let's make it a little extra interesting. And see, all of that is all fine and good because I'm gonna tell you, something, and I've said this to several people. I said I don't think Christianity is wrong. I don't think I don't think the originator of it, Catholicism, is wrong. I don't think any of these religions are wrong. I think, in fact, I know they're all wrong. So notice I said think, then I said I know. Because the thing is that in reality, I believe there's a small truth in every single religion. We were genetically and spiritually predisposed to recognize that there is something that created us somewhere out there, somewhere that is a way higher level of being than we could ever hope to be until we transcend. You understand what I'm saying?
And
So,
send it back.
listen, we ain't getting into the weeds, all of that. I'm gonna say what I said. You can say what you
Look,
said. You
we
say
already talked
tomato.
about what he said.
I
He gonna
said
end up
tomato.
even wrong. I don't think any of
No,
it's wrong.
hold
I
on,
think
hold
Everyone
on.
it's
But
gets to
all
believe
wrong.
what they want.
no, but the thing is what I'm saying is, I think if somebody really had the time and research, and the gatekeepers that actually do know the truth on this planet, because trust and believe they're out there and they know what it really is. But
Mhm.
instead, because that won't be marketable, that won't be separate. Like, understand something. Those that are up in those levels of power, and I know this goes into conspiracy territory, but they benefit on the separation of people, which things like religion are very polarizing and divisive topics. That's why we jump from having 10 people in here to having two in here, because you ain't going to talk about my God because I know who my God is because I said what I said and da 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 da. And my thing is, they aren't necessarily wrong because a being that is omnipotent, a being that is omniscient, a being that is omnipresent, is literally everything to everyone based on your interpretation through your physical and mental eye. Notice I said the physical and mental eye because you got different ways that you view things.
Mhm.
It's up for interpretation based on how you perceive it. So if you say, my perspective is to go to church and, I pray to God and I do the whole religious practice. You're not a bad person for that. And many
Right.
people have turned their lives around. Like Dre said, many people have turned their lives around based
Mhm.
on those practices. And that's a beautiful thing because when you're channeling your spirituality and fellowshipping with others, that energy coalescing together can yield some positive results. So as long
Right.
as that's what's happening, I'm all for it. That's why I don't
Yeah.
have nothing against these religions. My problem is when people try to get greedy and when people try to take advantage of something, and that's where I'm gonna draw the line and call bullshit. And
Right.
then you do all this fear mongering and try to use control mechanisms against me. I'm sorry, but I'm too smart for that. So it's not gonna work. Your
Right.
threats of a hell that was made up, which is also a hodgepodge concept of multiple different afterlives from 100 religions beforehand,
Mhm.
It does not
is the
scare me.
problem. Well, it doesn't scare me because I know that's not a place that I deserve to go because I live a righteous life.
It's
Right.
But
not
I
even a
live a
place
righteous
you
life
go,
based
period.
on my spiritual position. I listen, not to say that there aren't dimensions out there on your spiritual self where bad things exist, but my whole thing is these people ain't got the slightest clue what the fuck they're talking about. They're taking uneducated guesses because half of them just came home, thought they hit their head and saw something, and decided to make a religion out of it, and then want to pass around their freaking plate because they want us to pay them for
Information.
becoming. No, they want us to pay them for being
Spiritually
a
enlightened.
media.
A
No,
conduit.
paying
A
them. No,
conduit.
a medium.
Yeah. A
A
They
conduit.
want us to
liaison.
pay them for being a medium for them in something that we don't need them to be a medium for because God is within us and all around us. So I don't need you to have my conversation with whatever I define this being as, be it God, Allah, um, what you call it. I forget the Buddha
Anything.
one. Yeah, anything. But you understand what I'm saying? My point is, you can split it up into multiple gods, like something like the ancient religions of the Olympians back in the days, or the Roman religion before the Catholics took over, and all of that stuff. Listen, there's so many different ways you could spin this, and no matter which way you spin it, my thing is, as long as you are doing things to better your fellow man, that is righteous. That is being blessed.
Right.
That is being godlike. For those of
Yeah.
you that want to profit from something, sorry, but you're not getting my dollar. Go get your ass a job. Like
And this was,
Carnita has said. Oh, was it Carnita or was it you, Sabrina?
yeah,
One of y'all said this
yeah,
shit.
that was me.
Yeah, that was you. When it was like Jesus had a job. He was a carpenter. And being a
He
carpenter is
was.
not easy.
Mhm.
Carpenter, I've done carpentry before. It is not easy. He
See, that's
worked
the
So
hard
with,
for
that's
his
with
that's the
money.
all
thing about
So
that's the thing
why
about
should you get
religion
a
in
free
itself.
pass?
That's the thing
with
about religion
all
in itself. People do like we don't need anybody to give us our spirituality. But
right.
if you attach fear to it and sell people these dreams or these nightmares, then that makes them think that they need to attach themselves to a person to give them their spirituality, which that
Right.
becomes a crutch and a tool for use. You know,
Right.
heaven and hell are not places that our spirit goes to. Heaven and hell is mindsets. You have that while you're living. You can be
Your
living
upper
in
and lower
hell
self.
Oh,
in that mindset right
can
now.
I just jump on that one thing you just said? There's this show, one of the favorite shows I love watching, on Netflix, Lucifer. You know what I loved about their depiction? Is the thing I loved about their depiction of hell is that people put themselves there. It
Mindset.
wasn't They wasn't damned by God. No angel came, flown down, and said, "You're going to hell." They put
Mhm.
themselves there because their own guilt, their own
Negative emotions,
their own negative emotions, their own feelings, their own
fear.
things that they know they did that was wrong is the reason why that they're there. And the thing is, it's something that you can actually ascend from. But see, the thing is, they don't want you to ever think of any of that stuff because they want you to think that the key is by following what I say, and you got to come here and get this
And pay
word
for it.
and get this
And pay
word
for it.
and keep putting out this money. And as long as you do all that, but meanwhile, you'll see the same. I don't know if y'all remember this because this is in the Bible where they talk about how rich people are typically guaranteed a spot in hell anyway, based on the things they had to do for their riches. It's something like that. I don't remember the exact interpretation on it, but it's something that basically damns people that are rich to more than likely ending up in hell anyway. Which is why
Right.
some
because
people that are
because
rich,
because of greed.
because no, but the reason why they do that is because they want those rich folk to do things like go run over to the church, give big donations and all this other stuff, so they can balance their way. Because somehow, some way, an almighty, omnipresent being needs our bullshit dollars that don't even mean anything on our
That
planet
have no value until we add value
to
to it. Yeah.
exactly. It's the same thing as Bitcoin, but we'll get into that another day.
Dre, what you got?
Um, Go ahead.
Man, I was just gonna sit up and say, you know what? I've learned my lesson about getting into debates on spiritual, on religion, especially Christianity. I'm gonna just
Religion.
stick with that. I'm gonna just stick with Christianity. That's how I feel. I'm gonna stick with Christianity. Sometimes, like I said, when people carry that like it's a badge of honor, like I said, like, well, I'm a Christian. That Do you understand how many people died in the name of? You know what I'm saying? For your religion, to blah blah blah, to prosper and say that it is right. No, that was one thing. But where I was going with it was one of my guys here a couple months ago turned me on to something else. He works for NASA. And so I don't even get into those debates about religion or anything anymore. But we have, and y'all can do y'all research on this, whatever. It's called the James Webb Telescope. I don't know if y'all have ever heard of it. So the telescope now that they built, that all of these few countries, America, China, and I think there's one more. They have built a telescope that can actually see infrared. And right now they're looking at like 13 point some billion, 13.8 billion light years in life right now. While we're sitting up here debating on what religion is right and what is wrong, and which God did A, B, C, and D. Do you understand some of the images that are out there in this world are like when I literally say you can look in your room, the room that you're in right now, hold up 1 grain of salt, just 1 grain of salt. That's the size of the earth compared to the universe. You know what I'm saying? If you want to look at it in a sense like that.
Hmm.
That's how big the earth is, or that's how small the earth is, I should say, in whatever room that you're in. And the stuff
And
that is
actually, you're
out
being
there,
generous.
yeah, yeah,
Right.
like I said, and just
And that's
being
huge.
seeing, just seeing these things over there, some of the images that are out there, we will sit up and like, oh wow, what is that? Like we don't even have the answers to these things out there, but we're sitting up debating and fighting each other and cussing each other out over what team is better
Doctrines.
or what
Doctrines.
doctrine is better, and all these different things. If y'all see some of the images that are out there in the world, like out there in space, man, in these galaxies, man, y'all be like, whoa, 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 whoa. Like I said, you have no idea the stuff that is
Man.
out there, man. I'm telling y'all, look up, just Google YouTube, but yeah, James Webb Telescope images. Y'all will see some of the stuff out there. Y'all will see things that
Share
you
it
be
in the
like,
group, Dre.
oh my God.
When you
I'm
get a chance, share it in the group so we can know
I
about
can
them.
do that. Yeah, I can do that. I can do that. Like I said, I wanna go so deep into it,
I'm a
but I
nerd,
don't.
so I'll
Um,
be looking at that stuff. But go
James
ahead.
Me
Well,
too.
it's called the James Well Telescope. You can see, I'm telling you, 13. Right now they're looking at like 13.8 billion light years out there because so far, we can only see so far in the universe. But this telescope is infrared, so they're seeing you got things out there that look like it would be like these spiritual beings, these things out there like looking at us, looking back at us like, what are you doing here? You're not supposed to be here. You know what I'm saying? Like you have no idea, like why are you here? Why are you looking at me? Type things out there. You know what I'm saying? When you see things, you're like, whoa, man, we ain't nothing. Earth is, we ain't shit. We are not shit compared to the stuff that's out there in the spiritual things. And so I don't know if y'all been listening to any of the TED talk, but you got what's the not Bill Gates, what's the other Warren Buffett, Musk, Elion, or however you pronounce his damn name.
Elon Musk.
Elon, and somebody else. They're just now, and Bill Gates off in this as well. They are now tapping into the spiritual realm. So right now they are getting to a point, like I said, where they're trying to what's the word? I want to word this right without, like I said, without somebody coming back and maybe I'm wrong saying all this stuff, whatever. But they're now tapping into the thing to where they want to. They're so rich. They're trying to live forever, and they're trying to create and keep their because they're going to be part of the elite. They're the elites right now. And they want to stay forever. So now they're tapping into it. Like I said, these are things that my man from NASA's telling me that, a lot of stuff that is not even released yet out there in public because they don't want to create fear. They don't want this
Hmm.
world to start going crazy. Not like, oh, it's like, it's some deep stuff out there, man. Like I said, I'm going to shut up because I don't want to say the wrong thing and,
I'm
make it so I don't want to eat my words. I want
I
to eat my
just want
words,
to
but
chime. I want to chime in on that real quick
Mhm.
because the thing is, I studied astronomy a little bit and
you can't do
what
that.
you call
You
it
can't do that. You can't.
astrophysics.
Yeah, you can't study this. It's
No,
against
no, no.
God.
But the thing
You
is,
can't do
I
that.
studied astro, and I also studied astrophysics when I was in college. It was one of my electives that I took on in colleges. I had an astrophysics class and stuff like that. I'm gonna tell you a lot of what we are viewing, and this is just to make you understand how small we really are. That piece of salt is actually our galaxy,
Mm.
and that's only one galaxy in the
And there are
grand
millions.
span in the span of things in a universe that is still expanding as we speak.
Well, that's what I was
Unlike what
saying. That's what I'm saying with that telescope. They are
hmm
seeing there are other galaxies out there. Like I'm telling y'all, man.
no, but
Y'all have not seen a black
like
hole. I
I'm
actually
no,
saw that.
because
You can see this in the
I'm
images.
literally looking at it right now. on the tablet because I pulled it up and like they have things like warp bubbles and stuff that they're discovering out there. Or they're still trying to figure out
That's
what you call
correct.
this what I forget what they call it, black matter or something like that.
Yes, that's what I'm
Yeah.
talking about. The images that you see it out there. That, thank you.
Hmm.
You doing exactly what I asked you to do. I'm telling you, what we talk about and what we debate over ain't nothing. It's nothing compared to
In the
what's out
grand
And the
there.
scheme
thing
of things,
is,
yeah.
and the thing is, what people have to realize is you're talking about a being that birthed all of this.
Hmm.
Yes,
I'm
she did.
sorry, but you have to use your brain for 5 seconds and just think to yourself how much of a micromanage that would be to really sit there and think that they're going to pick on every little thing that you, as an individual, Carnita, Dre, Sabrina, Max, you understand what I'm saying? What it is that you're doing and say, oh my God, you used your left instead of your right hand, so now you're going to hell. You understand what I'm saying? And I mean, literally, some of the things that people believe. And the thing is, like I said, I'm not here to necessarily bag on it, but like my mission is not to convert anybody to believe anything that I believe because my interpretation is my interpretation alone. That's my personal relationship with this universe, and that's how I decide to approach it. You approach it however you want. All I'm asking you for is two things: think critically and open your eyes so nobody takes advantage of your hope and your spirituality to capitalize and make themselves better because people are literally spending their life savings, their last dollars on a hope that they're going to get it back. And the thing is, that shit is like a game of darts. You can do this and throw darts all day statistically, because I know math and statistics is one of the things I'm pretty good at. If you throw enough darts, you're going to hit the target a couple of times, even if you got your eyes closed. So just because something just happens to happen because they kept saying it enough till it did happen doesn't make it something that is viable.
Right.
So
Trust me,
that's just
man.
things that I look to get out of this.
Trust me, I know, man. And I will say this, like I said, I'm not trying to hog and go too deep into it or whatever, but one of the biggest things that hurt my feelings, like I said, was my mom. My mom passed away in 2018. She only had a little bit of life savings, insurance and all that stuff. Instead of giving it to us so we can help bury her, what I'm saying, take care of her funeral, she gave it to a pastor. She had all of it willed to this pastor. This pastor is under indictment right now for fraud and all this stuff and whatnot. But you can't tell black people, and I'm gonna just stick with black people. You can't tell them that their belief system is wrong, that they're not, that there's no heaven, that there's no hell. You can't tell them
They're,
that.
they're
You know
being
what I'm saying?
taken
Because
advantage of.
they have been taking advantage of these televantages, all of these different, like I said, if that's what you want to choose to spend your money, we all spend our money on dumb stuff sometimes. If that's what you choose to spend your money on,
Don't
do
say
it
dumb. We
by
don't want
all
to call
means.
people dumb.
Well, no, 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 no. We
Stuff
make
is
dumb
dumb.
purchases. No, no, we make dumb purchases. I purchased
Opinions are
things that I don't
opinions.
need.
Let's be fair.
I purchased dumb things that I didn't need. Like, just look at it, for example, like, Black Friday. You already got 12 TVs. Why do you need to go buy a 75-inch TV now? You know what I'm saying? Like, you just buying an extra TV. Right? That's what I'm talking about. Just you spending money just dumb over dumb stuff and whatnot.
Yeah.
So that was one of the things that like hurt my feelings or whatever with my mom. And I don't hold any grudge against her about that. It's just because it's done and over with now. You know what I'm saying? But it was just a thought process. Like some of the things that we do and we spend our money on, and the hope that we believe that we are right. You know what I'm saying? That we're willing to forgo our own families and we're willing to hurt everybody else because we believe what we believe is right, and you can't tell us that we're wrong because that's how we were brought up, and this is the way it's supposed to be. Instead of critically thinking for yourself and gaining your own or gaining understanding of certain things, and stop trying to force it on other people. So
Hmm.
I'm sorry, that's all I was gonna say, man. Like I said, I want to go so deep into it, man, but I'm in a cigar lounge, so there's people around. I don't want to, because I know there's people ready to start questioning about some things,
We're
whatever. And
gonna
I'm
do
gonna
a part two on
you
this.
know,
We're about to get up off here. We've been a little bit over an hour, but definitely, this basically everybody that's tuned in or who will tune in later. We're not saying that Christianity or any other religion is wrong. All we're saying is, being black in America. This is basically where this is coming from for me. That is,
Mhm.
but I'm just saying, it's more out there, than what's been forced upon us. Basically, in my opinion, it was like shoving food that I don't like down my
Down your
throat.
throat.
I
Brussels
don't eat
sprouts.
bananas, so if anybody tries to
Oh,
come with a banana to me, I'm going to be like rejecting it. So basically, that's how I feel about any type of religion that I don't go for myself, that I haven't explored from my own self.
Hmm.
So it's just be open minded and be more respectful of other people's beliefs, because in my opinion, Christianity does not allow you to be respectful of anybody else's belief but
if
what they
if it's
tell you.
different from that,
So
yeah.
it was so much separation to the point where I couldn't make friends outside of that. I had to make
Right.
sure I couldn't date. I didn't date outside of a guy that was
Yeah,
not Christian. It really puts you in a box. It puts you in this, makes you trapped, basically almost like a slave, to your own religion. And that to me is not freedom. We already ain't got enough freedom as it is in America. Now you want
yeah,
to get me in another prison? So I
Well,
mean, that's
see,
just
basically.
my take on it.
I feel like often, like I said, religion is used as a divisive tool to keep us separated and
Like skin
and
color.
under control. I will tell you people this just to have a little bit of critical thing because I know we gotta wrap this up.
you people,
Um,
that's so racist. That is so racist. You people.
yes, you
What you
people,
trying to say, you people?
you people, because
You can't say
you
that.
people are the first ones to hang on to something that was forced upon you, but won't do any research into the actual roots that you come from. And you have to think about something. If you do the research as to how they want you to drink the Kool Aid on just this particular religion, not even to talk about some of the other ones, notice how the history would say that according to this civilization, our existence, it all started from here. Now, we have advanced in technology, going back to that James Webb telescope. The Big Bang did not start from here. They have evidence. They can reverse the time based on observing space because they can what they can see of the observable, what they call observable part of the universe. Because there's a
Mhm.
lot more universe than what's observable. But just based on the observable part of the universe, we can only see but so much. But it didn't start here. The Earth is a lot younger than the universe.
Hmm.
There was existence before Earth was even a thing. So how could that, as it's being explained, as these different religions express it, like it said, it's man being what you would basically being narcissistic, where they're acting like everything revolves around them instead of them revolving around the sun's revolving around them. And
Well,
we
that's a
all
whole
know that
nother
that's not
topic.
how that's working.
Right.
No,
And
That's a
but
I'm
whole
gonna say
nother
one
topic.
last thing. I'm gonna say one last thing real quick before I shut up. But I know we gotta end or whatever. Y'all gotta do or whatever.
yeah,
But you can't when you say if people would do their research, people do their research. They do their research. They only study one book, and when you read that book, you can't tell them that they are wrong whatsoever. Because again, in their eyes, everything that was talked about, everything that's in that book is the absolute truth. So they do
Right.
their research. They'll read one book and tell you that, this I got all the answers to the universe. They know all the things that's going
And you know
on
what?
because of
You
this.
know what, Dre? I'm gonna add to that. People don't realize that religion was created for man to wrap their head around their own existence. Like they created those doctrines and those stories because they haven't been able to wrap their head around how am I
Correct.
here?
Correct. And
That's what it comes
that's
down.
part of where it goes. Yeah, that's exactly where it goes to. Like, okay, well, this is how it is. It says it's right here in this book. So because it's in this book, that means it's the absolute truth. And my thing is, like I said, wrapping it up, and my thing is, so you mean to tell me that I don't believe in the religious side of anything, but I have done good. I have helped people my entire life. I have done good. I've done so much for others to help better other people. And you got somebody who's out committing mass murders, doing all kind of harm and hurt people on their deathbed. All they got to do is just say, "Jesus, forgive me." They're going to heaven. But because I've done good and I haven't hurt anybody else in my life, I go to hell because I don't believe. Man, you gotta miss me with that bullshit. I'm sorry. Like I'm in heaven. Well, that's the man right over. It's a meme. It's a one popular meme. Like, hey,
Well,
the one
see,
with
even
the
the
Jesus
whole
talking to the little
concept of
teeny. Hold on, hold on, just like that little one little meme that's around that. You got the Jesus talking to the little black kid. Like, hey, Timmy, go over there and give that man a hug. He's the one that killed your parents. Go give him a hug. You have to forgive him. You know what I'm saying for this. I ain't gotta forgive nobody for shit. I can't get nobody
they,
for shit.
yeah,
I'm sorry, but
look,
that's all I want to
all,
say. So
We're
all of
gonna get
those
we're gonna get into that in part two. Go ahead, Kanita.
all of those who oppress others always want to be forgiven
Mhm.
for their sins.
Right.
The oppressor always wants to be forgiven for their sins. It clears their conscience if
Mhm.
we forgive them for their
you
sins.
got an escape. You're
That
correct. There's an escape
escape
clause.
clause. Yeah.
You got an escape clause.
That way they know that we won't retaliate for their sins.
All right,
Kanita,
well, we're
we
gonna
aren't
get
gonna
on up.
start
You
that
got
tonight.
anything else? Any last things before we get up off here?
Um, I appreciate everybody for watching or who's gonna watch later. Cause I'm gonna punch a couple people in the chest that was supposed to pull up. I ain't seen them pull up, so I'll be spamming their folders with the YouTube channel because that's the only place you're gonna find it because it's gonna get deleted off of here. Um, but yeah, like I said, there's a lot to this. There's definitely more to be said. A whole lot more to be said. And like I said, I know because it's a sensitive topic, normally I'm not apologetic. Not really apologetic here, but I just want people to understand that the reason why we're speaking on this like it is because of what it's doing to us as a people, how it divides us and separates us. And that's not the purpose of spirituality at all. So, Sabrina, take us home, please.
Thank you all for tuning in tonight. We really appreciate you. Like, comment. Well, you've already commented, but comment later on. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. And as always, thank you for tuning in. Until next time,
And
bye.
share, and
Share.
subscribe to the
My
YouTube.
there you
Bye.
go. My final right before we go, my final
Uh
thought
oh.
is
Now he throws a final thought in there.
no. My final thought about it is just my piece out thing or whatever is look. According to your belief system, only 144,000 is supposed to go back. So more than likely, I will probably not be part of the 144,000 that's going. So I'll see you in here. All that other good stuff. So y'all
That
enjoy
number
We
the
was
rest.
all going.
concocted, so don't worry about it.
Again,
Oh.
again, don't get me
Bye,
started. Trust me.
y'all.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are out of here.
Peace.